Hi, and thanks for choosing Planet Rentals for your next outdoor adventure. First off, we're going to go over some general trailer information that is pertinent to all of our different camping trailers, and then we'll go specifically over the camping trailer that you have reserved. First of all, when you come for your reservation, make sure you plan enough time to get paperwork filled out and the trailer hooked up. When appointments are rushed, we always find that then, some information is skipped over, or, we're not as thorough as we'd like to be. So make sure you plan plenty of time for your pickup appointment. Secondly, make sure that you have your driver's license and the insurance card for the vehicle that will be towing our trailer available and ready for us. We'll need copies of those along with the contract that you sign. Now, it's important that you know what type of site you're going to with the trailer. Many sites have water, power, and sewer hookups, and many sites have none of that at all. And how the trailer works and operates is quite dependent on that. And so you'll want to know those differences before you head out there. And then I wanted to go over some general driving tips for you. When you're towing a trailer, it's always very important to drive at a very slow and safe speed. It's just not worth pushing. Plan some extra time in your trip so that you have plenty of time to get where you're going. It's easier on our trailer and easier on your tow vehicle if you just take it easy. Secondly, because you'll be a longer rig, you need to make sure that you're careful when you're cornering. You need to take corners a little bit wider and plan for that sort of thing. It's always smart to know exactly where you're going, have good directions, or have driven there before, because it's hard to make evasive maneuvers or U-turns and that sort of thing when you have a trailer in tow. And then whenever you're backing up the trailer, make sure that you have someone there helping you back up to help you make sure you don't, of course, run into any obstacles and that sort of thing. And then when you're setting up the trailer, you want to make sure that you're being careful of anything that's overhead on the trailer or around the sides of it. Many of our trailers have slide outs or pop downs and that sort of thing that extend from the side of the trailer. So before you get it all set up, you want to make sure there's plenty of clearance all around the trailer. And then also, we want you to really treat our trailers well. We have what we feel the best trailers and the best pricing out there of any RV dealer. And a big part of that is because we really feel like we have the best renters. So we do put some responsibility on you to make sure you take care of our units. We suggest taking your shoes off when you go inside the trailer. That really just helps with cleanup. It helps maintain the floor and the furniture, all that sort of thing. We suggest that you try not to take the trailer off-road. We suggest that you keep it nice and swept and clean. And then, help with eliminating horseplay and other rough activities that may happen in or outside the trailer, just to help, keep it nicer and cleaner for those that come after you. And then also wanted to note that all of our trailers have a spare tire on them, of course, but that spare tire is not intended for long distance driving. That spare tire is intended to get you somewhere to get a tire repaired and replaced so that you can continue on with your trip. So please don't plan on using the spare tire to drive any extended distance if something were to happen to one of the original tires on the trailer. We of course keep all those tires in great working condition for you. Now we'll go over the general hookup of the trailer to the tow vehicle here. So the first thing we're going to do is lower the trailer down onto the ball of the vehicle. And then every trailer comes with a safety pin. This is what's going to ensure that the trailer is locked on to the truck securely. If the pin goes through, you've got it set up correctly and it can't come undone from the ball of the vehicle. Next we have the safety chains, and they have hooks that clip onto the security hole on the vehicle. I like to cross the chains once or twice, with one going this way and the other one going this direction. Next is the hookup for the lights on the trailer. All of our trailers have this 7-pin RV connection, and so you need to make sure your vehicle can accommodate that type of plug. And then lastly is the breakaway cable for the trailer. What this does is if the trailer were to come unhooked from the vehicle somehow, this cable will pull and activate the brakes on the trailer so that it doesn't keep rolling away. Alright, and then if you're using one of our equalizer hitches, you'll want to lower the trailer down onto the ball of the tow vehicle, just enough to get that pin locked in, and then you want to swing the arms up onto the side of the trailer and lock those in. Then lower the rest of the trailer weight down onto the tow vehicle. What that does is help transfer some of the weight of the trailer up to the front tires of the tow vehicle for cornering and braking, and it also helps with sway control as you're driving down the road. Now be mindful of the things that you put inside the trailer. If you're using one of our equalizer hitches, make sure that does not go inside the trailer on the linoleum. We've had quite a few trailers damaged that way, as well as generators and other rough equipment like bikes and things like that. Please be careful with the flooring of our trailers. All right, once you arrive at your campsite, the first thing you're going to need to do is level the trailer. So with the level that's provided with the trailer, you'll want to check for side-to-side levelness using the back bumper of the trailer. So you just put that on there, and then depending on which side is high or low, you'll raise that side up using the tires of the trailer and the blocks that we provide. With these blocks, you'll tuck them up underneath the trailer tire and back up onto them. If you needed to go even higher, you can build a little ramp using these blocks. Go even too high here. Once you back up onto the blocks, then you check your levelness again and make sure you're nice and level. And then once your vehicle's level side to side, you want to chalk the tires using the included chocks. Just one on each side of the tire. Tuck them in nice and firm, and then the same on the other side of the trailer on one of the tires. Okay, now that you're level side to side and the tires are chalked on the trailer really well, it's now time to unhook it from your tow vehicle and check levelness front to back. To check that levelness, you can just place the level here on the front A-frame of the trailer, and then you're going to use the tongue jack, raised or lowered, in order to level the trailer front to back. Now you can drop the stabilizers that are on the trailer. There's a provided crank that you connect here. You just attach it to the end. And just crank those stabilizers down until they're on the ground. Once they touch the ground, I usually do another 2 cranks to support a little bit of the weight of the trailer, but you don't support much of the weight. In fact, these stabilizers are not used to level the trailer whatsoever. They're just used to help eliminate some of the rocking motion of the trailer when you're walking around inside. Now when your trip's over and it's time to hook up and leave, you're going to do all of those steps we went over just in reverse. So first you're going to raise those stabilizer jacks that we lowered. Then you're going to hook up to the vehicle and of course raise the tongue jack all the way. Then remove the chocks that are on the tires on both sides of the trailer. Then pull the trailer off of any leveling blocks side to side, and you're good to go. Okay, we're going to go over the setup of our Palomino tent trailer here. Located on the front of the trailer is one propane tank that is opened up just by turning the knob on the top. And then there's also a battery here on the front. The battery will charge if the trailer is plugged into power, if you have a hookup campsite, or will charge if you're plugged into a generator. Located here on the driver's side of the trailer, first is where the power cord is stored. It just pushes on inside that cubby. Now it has an adapter that we include with it. This adapter adapts it down to just a regular outlet. And then most power hookup sites have this 30 amp configuration. So either way you're covered. So this cord would plug in to the hookup site if you had power, or you could plug this into a generator. And when this is plugged in and powered up, then the batteries on the front will charge, as well as it'll run the lights and some of the items inside the trailer. Then here to this side is the water inlet. This is where you would fill up the water in the trailer if you do not have water at your site. This is a tank that holds the water kind of underneath the trailer, so if you wanted to pump that water up to the faucet in the trailer, you would need to run the water pump inside the trailer, and we'd show you how to do that. But you would just open this cap and put a hose right up to it until it gurgles back out at you, at which time you know it's full. Located here a little further back on the driver's side of the trailer is your city water connection. Now this is used if you have water hookups at your site. You would take a garden hose and one side would get hooked right onto the side of the trailer, like that. And the other end here will have a pressure regulator on it. We supply this pressure regulator. Its intended purpose is to control the amount of water pressure that gets into the trailer so that it doesn't exceed its capacity. So it would go between the hose spigot and your hose here, and it just screws onto the end. Located right next to the city water connection is the drain for your sink. So when you get to your site, you would just unscrew this and open it up, and any water that you use at your sink will just go out on the ground, and that's normal for all tent trailers. Now this top panel here is just a service access panel for the fridge. You don't need to enter that. But on the bottom one here it pulls off, and you have your controls to turn your fridge on. This far dial is to run the fridge off of propane. The green one is to run it off plug-in power if you had hookups at your site. And the red one is to use battery power. Now we suggest you never use battery power to run your fridge. It will just quickly drain the battery, and there's really no point to do that. Now to light the fridge on propane, you would push in the knob here over to the high setting, and while holding it down, you would spark the lighter in the back 4 or 5 times real quickly. Hold it down for another 5 or 10 seconds, and then you can let up and turn it to the desired temperature, but usually between medium and high will keep it nice and cold. If you're going to run the fridge off of plug-in power, you would just flip the green switch on. Now make sure you never have both the propane and the green switch on at the same time, and again we recommend never to use the red switch, which is 12 volt power. There's also a temperature dial for the fridge in the back, and we recommend turning that all the way up. Now here in the back corner of that same compartment is a little viewer window to see that the pilot light is lit if you're running the fridge on propane. You would just move that little piece over, look down in there, and you'll see that light lit. Here on the back corner of the passenger side of the trailer is a rail that the inside stove can rest on if you wanted to cook outdoors instead of indoors. And if you did that, there's a propane hose here that connects to that stove, and then the stove just sits on the rail. This same propane hose will pass up through a countertop, and we'll show you that on the inside if you wanted to cook on the inside. Now also right over here is the heat exhaust for your heater inside the trailer. I mention that just because it does get hot to the touch, so you want to be careful of its surroundings. Now it's time to set up the trailer and raise the roof. The most important thing about tent trailers is ensuring that the buckle on all 4 corners get released before you start to crank the roof up. There's a very sensitive cabling system all that runs underneath the trailer, and unfortunately that buckle will win and the cabling system could break if you don't get them all unlatched. So to do so, you just pop it down and off like that, so you see that the roof is now separate from the bottom section. Now once you have all 4 buckles undone from the side of the trailer and you double and triple check that, it's time to put the crank into the front of the trailer here and raise the roof up. Now as I raise the roof, you'll see this green cable here. This green cable kind of indicates how far up the roof needs to go. So you want to keep an eye on this and not over crank how high the roof goes. Somewhere in there is good. Okay, now that the roof is up, the next step is to pull out the front and the back bed. You can see there's 2 loops here to grab to assist you in that. You'll just pull it straight out all the way. Now it's important to note that you don't want any weight to be on those beds until you've put up the support poles underneath the beds. We'll show you the support poles here in a minute. Then you can pull the outside edges of the fabric over the corner of the beds. Then underneath the trailer here, the support poles for the front of the bed have a round end and a flat end. The round end is going to go onto the A-frame of the trailer into the circle, and then the flat end goes into a bracket just right underneath the bed. And then just repeat on the other side. Now the support poles underneath the back bed have the flat end on both ends of the pole. Now one of the flat ends is going to go into a slit here underneath the trailer, and it actually goes facing up, and then you just put it in the same type of bracket underneath the back bed. And then repeat on the other end. Now there's also 2 support bars for the roof. Once the beds are in place and secured, you'll want to secure these braces on these outer ends of the trailer. Now with the 2 braces, you want them to be kitty corner from each other, and that will be sufficient. Now there's a pointed end that's going to go to the top, and then it just clips on like that. And that just ensures the roof doesn't ever come down on top of you. To pull the stair out, just grab it and pull it towards you, but when the trailer's in travel, it needs to sit down nice and flat back underneath the trailer. Now the top half of the door is secured to the roof here, and it's going to swing down and then kind of fit into the frame of the trailer and buckle to the bottom half. So just swing it on down, lift it up just a little, and you'll see a couple black tabs that go into the frame of the trailer. Sits down and buckles on. Then there's some Velcro here that you can fasten to the door on the outside. Now if the door doesn't seem to fit just right on the bottom part of the door, you can raise or lower the roof just a little to, exact that adjustment. Now there's a white L-shaped bar that will complete the setup of your beds on the inside of the trailer. You'll just connect the round end here to this U-shaped bar that's already on the mattress. There's a little black bracket. You just push it on outwards and then connect the bar into the ceiling. Now just repeat on the back end. One thing to note, one pole is a little bit shorter than the other. You'll want the shorter pole to go to the back bed. Now the sink just lifts up from its upside down position onto here, and once it sits in place, it'll activate the lights in the trailer. Now the inside stove goes here over the access hole for that propane hose I showed you on the outside. It just passes up through the cupboard here and connects to the stove, or this is the stove that can go outside out there. The stove just lifts up. There's a couple side panels here to open. And then to light the stove, you just put the knob to high and then spark the corresponding burner with a lighter. Right inside the front door is the thermostat for the trailer. All the way and a click to the left is off, but to activate the furnace you would just move this lever over to its desired temperature, and then the heater will kick on and off to maintain that temperature as needed. Now this is the dinette here in bed mode. It does need to be laid out like this in order for the trailer to fold up and come down. But to turn it into a dinette, you just pop open these backrests here, kind of lay the cushions out on both sides. And then the center part is the table. And it has a couple legs here that just open up and lock into place. And then you're all set. Located here between the dinette and the sink is the switch for the water pump. Now this is if you do not have full-time water hookups at your site. If you fill that water tank, you'll need to pump it up to the faucet, and that's done by turning on the switch here. It'll turn on and off to pressurize those lines, but if you're not using water at the sink, we ask that you just leave the pump off. Now we do include a user manual and a cleaning checklist for each of the trailers, so if you had any questions you could refer to that user manual. But we can ask you to be nice and gentle with our trailer. Be mindful of the things that you bring inside the trailer. We suggest kicking off the shoes when you come in. That just helps with the cleaning at the end of your trip, as well as wear and tear on our floor and the furniture. So to fold the trailer back down, you're going to remove the safety braces underneath the bed, take the safety braces off from the roof, and then just take one more glance inside the trailer and make sure everything's at bed level and below so that those beds can push in without any obstacle impeding it. Now you're ready to crank the roof down. What I always do is crank the roof down about 80 or 90% of the way, then go around the trailer and tuck in all the fabric, and then you can crank it down the rest of the way. Now once you see the roof stop moving downwards, there's no point to keep cranking the trailer. Once the roof stops, you can close any gap that's remaining just by kind of pushing down on the roof, but you don't want to over crank the roof either up or down. Thanks again for choosing Planet Rentals for your next camping trip. We hope you really enjoy our trailers and that you have a great time.